Good day everyone, I'm Leilan A. Perez from BSc 2B Mathematics. Elements of a lesson plan. Element of a lesson plan teaching is more likely to be successful when guided by a clear and complete lesson plan. The key elements of a good lesson plan include objectives, timing, sequencing, differentiation, assessment, and materials. First is objectives. The first important question you should ask when designing a lesson plan is, what will the student learn in this lesson? Think about the specific knowledge, skills, awareness, and language you want the student learn in the lesson. Make the objective reasonable and attainable. That is, make sure that objectives can be reached within the time you have for the lesson. In order to know if a lesson's objectives are reached, the objective needs to describe something but to be measured. Because of this, a lesson plan objective should describe behavior that can be observed. Good lesson plan objectives describe what the student should be able to do after the lesson, not what they will know. For example, an objective of this current lesson is for education student to able to know the elements of a lesson plan. Toward this, in a way that can be observed and measured, we can say that after this lesson, participant will be able to describe or will know the elements of a lesson plan. Next is sequencing. Sequencing describe what will happen during the lesson. The order is happen in and how will transition between activities and to the next lesson. Consideration for sequencing could include when is the best time to do a current activity and what is logical but meaningful way to organize the lesson. The sequencing of a lesson should support the lesson learning objectives. Many lessons follow this structure. First is warm up. Next is introduction to the class topic. Next is presentation of materials. Next is one or more activities for students to practice. Next is evaluation of the practice, and last is application to a relevant activity. Next is timing. While it is important to be flexible when teaching, it is also important to estimate how long each part of the lesson will take. This will help organize activities and determine what is possible to do in the lesson. Never forget that remember that learning takes time. Make sure to give your student plenty of time to process an activity or engage in a new learning. Next is differentiation. You will have a variety of students in your classroom. How will you separate students who need extra help and students who need to be challenged more? When writing your lesson plan, make sure to include detail about the student interaction. For example, will they be doing pair work, individual works, group works, or be listening to the teacher presentation information? Make sure that your lesson include the balance of interaction during the class, as this can help with differentiation and creating a learning environment that is product for multiple learning style. Providing detailed notes in a lesson plan regarding what challenges students might have and how you might avoid or lessen the impact of these challenges can help a teacher adapt for differentiation. Next is assessment. For assessment of student learning, how will you know what students have learned? How will you know if the learning objectives were met? Will you ask your student comprehension questions? Will there be a short presentation, drills, or a short quiz, a written assignment, or group activity where a student must use new learning to complete the task? For assessment of the overall lesson, do you Leave time at the end of lesson to gather the feedback in their space for you to take notes on lesson plan. After each class, try to find the time to reflect on the lesson and identify what worked and what did not. So next is materials. In order to complement a good lesson plan, you need to know what material will be necessary. This can include books, handouts, pen, and so on. Make sure to obtain the necessary materials before class is important, as it saves time and helps teachers feel more prepared. So last is conclusion. Know that we have looked at 6 essential elements of a lesson plan. Your next step is to take a comprehension quiz, which will not only help you to review this concept but also think through why these 6 elements should be included in the lesson plan. And that's all.